Well, at this point, they're getting ready to step the mast. Got the boom truck. They have a sling rigged on the mast that's tied down to the base of the mast so that it will not slide up. And they will lift the mast up and put it on the boat. I will shift my vantage point in just a minute to show the full procedure. Okay, now they're rigging the sling, and the idea is to get it just above the balance point on the mast so that the bottom of the mast will be slightly bottom heavy, and they can lift it up and control it easily. And since every mast is different, it always takes a little bit of guessing exactly where to put the sling before they lift it. Few last minute checks just to make sure everything is led the right way, and she's ready to go up. And they'll lift the mast up, swing it over, and drop it into the step. Well, they won't drop it, they'll lower it carefully into the step. She's going up now. They've got everything straightened out. The forestay was wrapped around some lines. And there she goes. And at this point, they're just going to get it lined up and lower it into the mast step. Once the mast is down, they will be setting the partners, which are just wedges to hold the mast in place where it passes through the deck. And the only thing they've got to worry about here is getting it lined up properly so that the key on the bottom of the mast fits into it. And they also have to get that electrical cable on the forward face of the mast lined up so that it doesn't hang up as they lower it in. So this is a pretty simple procedure. Okay, for the last few minutes they've been getting the partners sorted out, and down she goes. There goes the electrical connection. They've got a third man inside the boat to grab the base of the mast and guide it into the step. You have to be careful with this because this mast is visible in the boat and the base is all varnished, so they don't want to inadvertently ding the varnish. Once they get the mast set down in the step properly, they will start putting the partners in to hold the mast. And they're just working on getting everything lined up properly. There, he's working the mast into the step down there. And I believe she's in the step. And at this point they'll be getting, oh, there it goes, drop the last little bit into the step. Now they'll be putting the partners in to hold the mast in the center of the opening. Basically, one man is pulling the mast so that the partners can be put in behind the mast, then they'll push it back against the partners to hold them in place while they set the forward partners. And once all the partners are in and they're happy with the orientation of the mast, they will tie the mast boot around the step and move on to attaching the boom and the gaff and possibly putting the sail on so that this boat will be ready to go. So this is a bit of a time-consuming procedure, so I think I'll stop. Alright, they're taking the sling off, so the mast will be freestanding after this. What they have left to do is to attach the forestay to the end of the bowsprit and get those wedges set the rest of the way down in to get her properly centered and standing up the right way. Yeah. At this point, they're just going to make final adjustments on the partner wedges. At this point, they've got the partners set. They're just making a few final adjustments from inside the boat. And this is a critical part of stepping a keel step mast, getting the partners properly set so that the mast is stable and it's centered in the opening and not going anywhere. Now this mast is almost freestanding. It is freestanding right now, but there is a forestay that they will attach before they put the boom and gaff on, which they'll be doing in just a minute. At this point, he's attaching the forestay, which doesn't have a turnbuckle on this boat, it's just a lashing. So he'll lash it down.
Make sure that forestay is not going to move your flag out.
And now he's just getting all the lines squared away so that nothing is wrapped around something it's not supposed to be. Well, here comes the boom, and he'll set the aft end in the gallows to hold it up. Like that, and they'll pass it onto the boat from the truck. And here we go, getting ready to slide the boom forward and put the pin in. There we are. And now they'll put a cotter pin in and she'll be attached. And they can start rigging lines. And at this point, the rigger is attaching the main sheet, which will go up to that eye just at the base of the white part of the boom. And they will rig lots of other lines. This is a gaff rigged boat, so they still have to put the gaff on, and I don't know if they're going to put the sail on or not today. It'll depend on how late it is, because we're already almost 2 hours past high tide, and they don't want to go too far past or they run out of water to launch the boat. So right now it's just getting the lines, which have been tied off on the mast for the winter, into the right place and getting everything set up. They're getting ready to start putting the sail on now, and what he's doing is putting battens in the sail, which are there to stiffen the aft edge of the sail. And there are pockets in the sail that he will locate and slide the battens into. There goes the first one. And once he gets the battens on, he'll come up here, attach the foot of the sail to a fitting right above the boom, and then attach the sail to each of the rings that go around the mast. There would hold the sail to the mast when it's up, and then they will be rigging the gaff, since this boat is a gaff rigged boat. There goes another batten. And another one. Fairly straightforward procedure so far. What he's doing now is feeding slides into the track on the top of the boom. And that's what holds the bottom of the sail, the foot of the sail, to the boom. You've got to get everything turned the right way so that the sail will slide in easily. And you can see the slides going on. And as the slides go on, he's got to pull the sail back, or it'll get horribly bunched up and be quite an inconvenience to get it on there properly. And as you can see, there's not a lot of room to work here with that sail all bunched up right in front of you.
Is that Ryan? No, you want to do it.
And as he gets a cotter pin in there, the foot of the sail is attached to the boom. Now he's lashing the sail to each of the mast rings, which is a little bit time consuming, but you only do it once during the season. Well, they only had to lash the top two rings on, so now they're just putting a jack line through the others, and they'll have the rest of that rigging done very quickly now. And they will move on to putting the gaff on. There are track slides on the top of the sail that go into a track on the gaff. Okay, here goes the gaff. They'll set that on there. And that line with the wooden rings on it goes around the front of the mast, and that's what holds the gaff to the mast. The gaff there is all lined with leather so that it won't scuff the mast up too much. And up on the mast you can see there are pieces of leather wrapped around the mast at the locations where the gaff will sit to protect the mast even more. Yeah, he's just feeding the line through. And now he'll knot it so the line can't pull back through. And once this is done, they will attach the hoists for the gaff, attach the sail to the track on the gaff, and she'll be rigged. Now they're rigging the peak and throat halyards to the gaff, and when that's done, they will finish attaching the sail. And this somewhat time-consuming and drawn-out process will be finished. Okay, he's attaching another halyard and mousing the shackle. And once that's done, I believe he's going to start feeding the sail slides into the track on the bottom of the gaff. Okay, they're raising the gaff a little so they can feed the sail in. See the slide going onto the track. And this is a 68 or 69 Crosby Cat. And attach the sail to the end of the gaff with yet another shackle. And now all that remains to put the sail on is to tie off the outhauls at the aft end of the sail, both on the gaff and on the boom. Now he's going to lash the outhaul on the main to tension the foot of the main. And I shouldn't say main, it's the only sail since this is a cat boat. The only thing that makes that a little bit tricky is, like almost all gaff rigged boats, the boom overhangs the stern by quite a bit. This one it's not that much, about 2.5 feet, but he does have to lean out there to tie it in. So he'll tie it off. Now they've made sure it's clear. You just pull all the slack out of it. The breeze has picked up a little, which is starting to, unfortunately it's coming from a stern, which is going to complicate things a little bit, but not too bad. And the outhaul line will be fed through one hole in the boom, back through the clew of the sail, back through the other hole, and then it will be tensioned and tied off. All this time spent rigging a cat boat like this pays off though, because these are very easy boats to sail. One sail, and except for reefing, one line. Just the main sheet to adjust. Makes the boat very simple. Yeah, it's just a matter of tying it all off. And she will, in a few minutes, be ready to go in the water. Now they're rigging the lazy jacks and doing a very quick flake on the sail before she's ready to go in.
Past we just tied them off to each other. So let's try that. Because that would actually keep the wind booming.
Okay, So at this point, she's just about ready to go over. Well, the boat is just about ready to go in. They're just tying the mast boot down up forward. And once that is done, I think we're going to be heading over to the ramp to put the boat in the water. So she's all set and looks really good this year. So now we'll finally see the actual launching, which after the time spent rigging is relatively anticlimactic.